Welcome everyone to today's webinar, The Art of Possible with Generative AI, Building Resilient Organizations with AI. This session is brought to you by CeADAR, Island Center for AI, in collaboration with the EDIH, the European Digital Innovation Ops Network. My name is Joshua Komolafe, EDIH AI Training Research Coordinator, and I have with me my colleague Rish, who will be helping us out with the questions in the chat. Our focus today is on how organizations, large and small, can leverage generative AI, not just as a tool, but as a strategy to build resilience, adaptability, and competitive advantage. We'll explore practical applications, industry examples, and best practices that show how AI is reshaping the way businesses think about continuity, growth, and innovation. Rich, can you just confirm if everyone can hear me and see my screen as well?
Yeah, we can hear you, but uh, yeah, for the screen we could see the title screen only for now.
Okay.
Maybe try sharing again the presentation slides. Yes,
Can you-
we can see the agenda now. Perfect.
Thank you. So here's a quick look at our agenda for the day. We'll begin with how AI can help prevent corporate amnesia through tools like Notebook LM, ensuring knowledge isn't lost when staff, for example, moves on, maybe retire or get another job. Next, we'll look at how AI enables organizations to explore new markets intelligently by rapidly condensing market analysis. We will then cover how to monitor public sentiments, for example, getting insight into what citizens think about public services. And after that, we'll explore the Digital Markets Act and what benefits it brings to organizations when combined with AI. Then we'll move into the best practices for building organizational resilience with AI, followed by a demo session to see this concept in action. Finally, we'll close with our key takeaways and open the door for the Q&A session. So if at any point you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat and my colleague, we should be attending to them. Here's a quick disclaimer. So all trademarks, logos, and brand names used in this webinar are the property of their respective owners, and all company, product, and service names used in this webinar are for identification purposes only. Use of these names, trademarks, and brands do not imply endorsement. So straight away, let's begin with our first topic for this webinar. And it is looking into how AI can help organizations preserve critical knowledge and prevent what we call corporate amnesia. One of the biggest risks organizations face these days is whether in the public service or the private sector is what we call corporate amnesia. And this happens when an experienced employee retires or a key engineer leaves and all their knowledge, insight, and lessons learned effectively work out with them. Take, for example, a long-serving policy expert in the Department of Finance. As they approach retirement, instead of just leaving behind static handover notes, they create a notebook LM space. And into this, they upload project documents, research papers, and reflections from the past decade. What they are really doing is building a digital brain for their successor. Now, imagine when a new staff comes on board and instead of digging through filing cabinets or asking colleagues who only remember half of the information from the past, they can simply query this knowledge base. They might ask, what was the original rationale for the Help to Buy scheme and what were the main concerns raised during this development? And within seconds, they can get a clear answer backed with references to the original document. And this helps to transform onboarding, ensures continuity of institutional memory, and drastically reduces the learning curve for new staff. For example, in the case of businesses, it means smoother project handovers. And for government, it means policies remain consistent and evidence-based over time. The tool to be used in this demo session would be the Notebook LM, and it is an AI-powered research assistant by Google that helps users learn and synthesize information from their own sources, such as Google Docs or PDFs. It can also summarize content, answer questions, explain complex ideas, and draw connections across documents, making it a personalized tool for students, researchers, and professionals to better understand and work with information. And the key features of the Notebook LM includes, the ability to provide source-grounded responses, the ability to carry out summarization and explanation, the ability for a Q&A functionality, and the ability to have connections and insights. For example, it can analyze or identify relationships between ideas across multiple documents, helping with deeper understanding and synthesis. Now, having looked at how AI helps us to preserve institutional knowledge and prevent corporate amnesia, let's now transition to another crucial challenge, market diversification. In the wake of global economic shifts, Irish businesses are under strong encouragement from agencies like Enterprise Island to expand into new export markets. But as many of us know, conducting thorough market research is a massive undertaking, something that traditionally takes about weeks or even months. And here's where AI agents step in. Imagine a business development manager at an Irish agri-food company. Their goal is to evaluate the potential for exporting organic dairy products into the Netherlands, for example. With the help of an AI agent, they can quickly research Dutch consumer trends in organic and sustainable dairy. They can identify the top three supermarket chains and their suppliers, summarize import regulations and tariffs, and also pull recent related reports on the contest at hand, and then compile a full SWOT analysis, which is compiling the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats that might arise from trying to enter into this new market. And in the case that we'll be looking at the Netherlands, in essence, the AI acts like an on-demand market research firm, delivering a comprehensive strategic report in days rather than weeks. But in the case of an AI, the agentic AI, in minutes, this dramatically accelerates decision making, enabling Irish companies to act with speed and confidence when pursuing international growth. The tool to be used here is the ChatGPT's agent mode. And this is very capable of going into the web in real time and allows the model to go beyond simple conversation by acting as an autonomous assistants that can use tools, take actions, and complete multi-tasks on behalf of the user. And instead of just answering questions, it can plan, reason, and interact with external systems like browsing the web, analyzing files, or running code to achieve specific goals. Now that we've seen how AI can accelerate exports research and open doors to new markets, let's shift focus to the public sector, where the challenge is not competition, but responsiveness. Public bodies like councils, for example, need to stay tuned to public needs and sentiment. Traditionally, this meant manually scanning social media, local news, or forums for complaints about potholes, for example, missed bin collections or hospital delays, a process that slows down, service delivery. With AI, this changes dramatically. Imagine a manager in a certain county council in Dublin deploying an agent to monitor services. The agents can, go onto the web, scan through Twitter, now known as X, certain websites, social medias like Facebook as well, Instagram, LinkedIn, and looks for keyword like pothole or broken street light or bin collection missed. It automatically categorizes posts by service area based on maybe roads, waste, parks, and by sentiment such as positive, neutral, negative, or urgent. Now, here's the willpower. If 5 or more urgent mentions above the same issue, let's say, for example, a flooded area appearing within 3 hours, the system can, generate an immediate alert, sending it straight to the operations team. And for example, in a particular day in the week, it can be asked to compile a sentiment trend report with charts for each service. Now, the result is real-time actionable intelligence. Instead of reacting weeks later, councils can fix problems proactively, building citizen trust and delivering faster, smarter public services. Now, let's take a moment to understand the Digital Markets Act, also known as the DMA. This is an EU regulation which came into effect this year and aims to ensure fairness in digital markets by placing clear rules on very large digital platforms known as the gatekeepers to prevent them from abusing market power. And the main six gatekeepers mentioned in the act are Alphabet by Google, Amazon, Apple, ByteDance by TikTok, Meta, and Microsoft. Those are the 6 gatekeepers mentioned by the act. Now, these gatekeepers offer core platform services like app stores, operating systems, advertising networks, search engines, social networks, cloud services, and more. Now, in Ireland, the DMA especially affects digital-first businesses, SMEs also, who rely on platforms. Also, we have the e-commerce firms, the app developers, the online marketplaces, and advertisers. Basically, those whose business models depend on access through these gatekeepers platforms. And under the Digital Markets Act, gatekeepers must follow a set of obligations. They must not prefer their own services, must allow interoperability, must permit data portability, offer fair access to business users, and avoid bundling services unfairly. The benefits for Irish businesses from this act includes fairer access to customers, more control over pricing, data and platform terms, and reduced barriers to competition and innovation. Examples of scenarios that we can have in the digital markets are, for example, a SME e-commerce retailer relying on Amazon Marketplace or an app developer dependent on Apple App Store and Google Play Store, or maybe a digital marketing agency using Meta Ads and Google Ads, and also maybe a local streaming or media service leveraging cloud services from Microsoft or Amazon. Finally, the European Digital Innovation Hubs play a key role in helping Irish firms navigate the DMA compliance, interpret rules, and adapt their platforms or strategies and seize the new opportunities created by a more open digital marketplace. And during our demo session, we can see how we can use AI to help streamline a business profile to what the benefits are from the DMA. As we move into responsible use guidelines, it is important to take note of these 5 essential practices that every organization should embed when deploying Gen AI. First, it is important to align to responsible use guidelines and transparency obligations for their businesses. That is, there's a need to be explicit about how data is used, what decisions are automated, and how users are informed. There's a need to ensure that data quality and ownership clarity is established. There's a need to ensure that, model performances are monitored, and then to ensure that, they are being fed with credible data and must have clear rights for permissions. Next, there's a need to avoid free public Gen AI tools without safeguards. Those may lack transparency, privacy controls, or model oversight. So it's important to use them cautiously or only in low risk settings. If you must use, very sensitive information, there's a need to use paid for large language models. Third, there's a need to ensure that, we embed human oversight and review workflow. there's a need to always have humans in the loop to validate outputs, especially in high-stake decisions. There's also a need for humans to, monitor regulatory requirements or updates. For example, in the demo here, we'll be looking at the DMA Act. So there's a need for a human to also monitor if, there are new updates in the act itself that the AI might not be able to catch when using it. So fourth, there's a need to cultivate AI awareness and upskill your team. That means, there's a need to train staff on limitations, bias, risk, prompt engineering, and ethical use so they use AI responsibly. And finally, there's a need to build explainability, logging and audit trails. There's a need to document model decisions, log every output and human review, and maintain audit trails so you can trace any decision back. This supports accountability, regulatory compliance, and fosters trust within the organization. By weaving together, all of this, we ensure clarity, oversight, and traceability so that we can, deploy Gen AI with a whole lot of confidence. So now that we've laid the foundation for what we are going to be doing today in our practical session, now it's time to actually get an overview of what we've been talking about and seeing a practical overview. So in our first use case, we'll be looking at how we can use notebook LM to prevent corporate amnesia. So we are going to be uploading an handover note that has been synthetically generated based on what CeADAR does for in the past 10 years or in the past 12 years from 2013 to 2025. So it's a synthetic data based on all CeADAR does and I've been doing in the past 10 years. And we are going to be asking it a series of questions. So we have uploaded it to Notebook LM now. You can rename this if you want to maybe CeADAR knowledge base. You can rename it over here to maybe CeADAR knowledge base. And then we have the administrative handover report from a retiring administrative officer in CeADAR. And then we also have the project documents of all the previous projects that CeADAR has embarked on. So what we would do now is to ask this question over here. So the question states that the question is based on CeADAR's operations and research model. So we are going to ask how are industry projects scoped, documented, and archived to ensure smooth knowledge transfer. So in this case, we are assuming that a new administrative officer has come into the organization and they need to get certain information from what CeADAR has been doing in the past and from the documentations and the handover notes of the previous administrative officer. So we hit the enter button and wait for the response. So it's actually going to take its time to scan through the uploaded documents, which entails the handover notes and the project documentations. So it has an overview of the answers to the questions over here. And we are going to be providing the prompts to us later on so we can go through them in our personal time. But these are the answers that it has provided that, CeADAR does an digital maturity assessment, CeADAR carries out needs assessment, and all of those. So it's has made mention of one of CeADAR's actual projects, which is the Lighthouse project. And I used agentic AI to generate this synthetic data. I asked it to go into the web and look at all CeADAR has been doing in the past 10 years and, put together a handover report. So this has been done synthetically. These are not, it wasn't put together by an actual human from CeADAR, but I used AI to go into the web, gather all this relevant information about CeADAR, and assume that it's a handover note from a retiring officer in CeADAR. So we are going to ask it one more question as well. We are going to ask it about the EDIH program, which is sponsoring the webinar we are having right now. And if you want to get actual source of the information that's provided, you can just click into this and it shows you where it's got the information from the documents that represents the handover note from the retired administrative officer. So we go ahead and ask it this question as well. What reporting deadlines and KPIs must CeADAR meet under the European Digital Innovation Hub program?
Joshua, can you try sharing your screen again?
Oh, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, now we can see.
Okay. Yeah, so I uploaded the document to Notebook LM, which represents a handover report from someone who's just retired from CeADAR. And this was the first question I asked our industry projects scoped, documented, and archived to ensure smooth knowledge transfer. And this was the response that it gave to us. Next, we have another question. What reporting deadlines and KPIs must CeADAR meet under the European Digital Innovation Ops program? And it says that there's a need for CeADAR to provide quarterly reports to Enterprise Ireland and European Commission, who are the financiers of CeADAR. And it mentions, what the reporting content should be. So, this makes the job actually easy for a new administrative officer who has come in to replace the retired administrative officer, and the new officer can just quickly interact with the handover note from the previous person that was in charge. And yes, yeah, the key KPI categories that it has provided, the service delivery and engagement, skills and training, which is part of what we are doing right now, the ecosystem building, and the financial and economic impact. And it goes ahead to provide this other information as well. We'll just go ahead and ask one more question. I hope we can still see my screen. So this question, we are asking that who are the key external contacts? I'm just going to remove this. So who are the key external contacts that I will need to liaise with regularly? So this is the new administrative officer asking these questions from the knowledge base. So it's provided the following information for funding and government bodies, those that the new administrative officer needs to liaise with regularly are Enterprise Ireland, the European Commission, and the National Artificial Intelligence Office, and also the Department of Enterprise, Trade and Employment, also the IDA and, member companies, SMEs, PSOs, client representatives, and also those that are in charge of the CeADAR AI Accelerator Program, and also other bodies that are represent other EDI8 in Highland. So with this use case, with this use case, when someone is retiring or leaving an organization and they help him put together a robust handover report, this report and other relevant documents can be uploaded into Notebook LM, saved there. And when a new employee comes in, it helps to simplify the onboarding process for them, and it helps them to quickly retrieve information rather than taking time to scan through or read through the handover notes. Now, we'll be going into our next demo session now, and we'll be looking into how we can use the agentic AI to explore new markets. Just a moment. Just trying to get the prompt out. So now we'll be looking into how a business in Ireland that is into, the dairy products business can actually carry out a research on how it can, go into a new market. And in this case, we'll be looking at the Netherlands. So I hope you can see my screen now.
No, Joshua.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
It's starting to come up. Yeah, we can see.
Okay, so this is the prompt that has been put together to help carry out this. So the role of the prompt is you're a market research and strategy consultant specializing in international trade, consumer insight, and regulatory compliance. You act as a full service research firm, providing detailed evidence-based strategic reports for Irish companies expanding abroad. The goal is to evaluate the market potential for organic dairy products in the Netherlands, delivering insights that would normally take weeks of research. So these are the instructions to conduct a 2-year consumer trend research on the trends around organic food in the Netherlands, sustainability, and dairy consumption. To also look into the competitive landscape in the Netherlands, looking into the regulatory environment in the Netherlands as well when it comes to dairy products, and also carry out a SWOT analysis for the business. So we are going to use the agent mode here. So we are going to, this is the agent mode, and the source is going to be the web over here, the web search. So when we click on it, it's actually going to bring up its own desktop, and in real time the agent will, just like the way I'm operating on my own desktop now, the agent is going to come up with his own desktop. So it's asking for some further question. Also for the competitive analysis, do you want details beyond the top three? So I would say yes, 2023 to 2025, and I would say no, just the top three. Say not just the top three. So it's taking its time to think on how to carry out this research now, and it's actually going to come up with its own desktop shortly. So this is the agent actually going into the web in real time, and it is beginning to carry out relevant research now. And this would usually take some time, at times like 5 minutes or 10 minutes thereabout. So while it's doing this, we'll just jump into our next use case, and we'll come back to see what that's done with the prompt that's been given. Um, can we see my new tab now? Which, please, can you confirm if you can all see my new tab?
We can see the tab where you have the prompt ready.
Okay, so this is for the third use case that has to do with monitoring the public sector, public services sentiments dynamically. So this is the prompt that we have given, we have provided. You're an AI-powered public service monitoring and sentiment analysis agent. Your role is to track digital channels and news for public service issues and community sentiment, and present clear insights to public sector managers. The goal is to monitor public sentiment regarding public services and events in North Dublin in the past 7 days, from the 24th of September to 30th of September, which is today. So these are the data collection instruction that you should scan through the web, scan through social media, local community Facebook groups, and all of those. And it should classify, you know, the various incidences or scenarios into maybe roads, waste, parks, transport, and so on. And it should also assign sentiment labels based on positive, neutral, negative, or urgent. And it has also been asked to anonymize the information of those that it might come across their comments online. And it's been given a format with which it's going to present its findings, going to present an executive summary, top issues and trend per service area, keyword frequency insights, and so on. So we are going to also initiate the agent mode for this as well, because we want it to be able to actually go into the web real time to get this information. So just like we saw earlier on, it's going into the web now. It's going to initiate its own desktop as well. It might ask for further questions, but if it doesn't, then it will go into the rest. So it's not asking for any further question. It's just mentioning that it has understood the assignment and does now initiate its own desktop, and it's going into the web to get real-time information. So while that is going on, let's just go back to check the previous one. So you can see over here that it's still carrying out its research. Like I said, unlike when you're using just the regular ChatGPT without the agent mode, it might have given you an answer already, but the answer might not be robust, might not be in-depth, because it might just be providing answer based on the last time the large language model was trained. But with this feature of the agent mode on ChatGPT, it's able to go into the web real time, actually open websites. So we can see that it's opening websites one after the other, it's scanning through, it's getting relevant information from those different websites. When we go back to the third use case as well, we can see that it's going into the web as well. It's going into websites, going into TFI, website, Dublin bus, to get information about maybe people complain about delays in their bus time and so on. So while both of these are going on, we can just go into our last use case as well and also get it running. So in the last use case, I mentioned that we'll be looking into the Digital Market Act and how AI can help companies to ascertain what their benefits are from the act. So from this prompt, we are asking the AI to carry out the following. You are a policy and digital market analyst. Your task is to explain the impact of the EU Digital Market Act on CeADAR Island Center for AI's digital agency team. So we don't have a proper digital agency team, but we're just putting a fictitious team in this scenario. So the team relies on digital platforms to operate. You act as both an educator, explaining DMA concepts clearly, and a strategist showing practical business implications. And the goal is to generate a comprehensive report on how the DMA affects CEDAR's digital agency team, considering the 6 designated gatekeepers who Alphabet by Google, we have Microsoft, we have Meta, we have Amazon, Apple, ByteDance. So there are actually 6 of them that has been mentioned by the Act to be the 6 major gatekeepers when it comes to digital markets and their core platform services. So the instruction is to I've provided a profile of what CeDAR does. It's Ireland's National Center for Artificial Intelligence, established in 20. So in your own use case, you will need to provide an information of what your business does. And if it's possible, you can provide a link of your website as well, and it's able to actually access your website and get a good view of what you do in your business. We've given it the regulatory context over here to explain briefly what the DMA is, its goals, and why gatekeepers are regulated. We've also asked it to carry out, an impact analysis on how it's going to affect CEDAR's digital agency team. We've also asked it to carry out a SWOT analysis based on, the provisions of the DMA, and to also mention the roles of the EDI heads and how they can help this particular agency with regards to the Digital Markets Act. So this is the prompt. So we can just do a bit comparison here, rather than using the agent mode here, I'm just going to ask it to use the web search mode, because the web search mode would take lesser time when compared to the agent mode. We are using just the web search mode and not the agent mode. If we were to use the deep research as well, it's going to take some more time. So, and over here, we can switch to, thinking longer for better answers, but it's not going to take as long as when we're actually using the agent mode. So we're going to hit the enter button now, and it will begin to prepare its response. So while it's doing that, let's go back to our second use case. We can see that it's still carrying out the research. And like I said, it would usually take some time. This is the second one as well. It's still carrying out some research and trying to get real-time information based on the last 7 days. While that is going on, we can see the fourth use case is taking some time to think, but like large language models are not perfect. It was showing an error code earlier on, but now, so like I said, it takes shorter time when compared to using the agent mode, because the agent mode is operating like an actual human going into those different websites, opening them, reading them. But as an AI, it takes faster time in reading through a web page. It takes faster time in reading through documents as compared to a human. So based on the prompt we've given, and like I said, we didn't use the agent mode in this case. We only used the web search service. So it has provided an executive summary of what the DMA is and how it affects the CeADAR digital agency team. So in the executive summary, it has mentioned that the DMA imposes obligations on a small set of gatekeepers who are Alphabet by Google, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, and ByteDance by TikTok. So because CeADAR's digital agency uses Meta Ads and Google Ads, which was mentioned in the prompt, that so in your use case, you have to also mention which of these platforms you use in your business in order to better advise you if if you want to switch from another platform to another without any penalty from your current users. And that's one of the whole essence of the DMA, to be able to provide freedom for those who actually use the services of these gatekeepers. So it says positively, CeADAR could benefit from more equitable bargaining power, richer data access, and less risk of being locked in by opaque platform practices. But in practice, adjustments will be needed. And it's also carried out a SWOT analysis, which helps to identify internal strengths of CeADAR that can be leveraged as well as risk to mitigate. So it has an introduction to the business over here. It has pointed out the key points of the DMA, and from the Act, it has pointed out why there's a need to regulate gatekeepers. It has mentioned the key obligations and prohibitions affecting the CIS gatekeepers. And here is an overview of the gatekeeper services impacting the business. So it has mentioned that over here. So we have the 6 gatekeepers and their relevant core services, how it relates to CeADAR's digital market agency, and so on. And here are how the DMA obligations affect CeADAR's digital agency: fairer access and not discrimination, no self-preferencing by any of the service providers that the agency is currently using. It's mentioned the implications, the challenges and risk, transparency and data access, the metrics, and all of this information. So the essence of this is to be able to help, individual businesses, individual organizations to use AI to ascertain how the DMA pertains to their own specific scenario or their own specific profile. So rather than taking a whole lot of time to try to understand the Digital Market Act and trying to put thoughts together around how it affects them, with this prompt, businesses can quickly understand, what their obligations are, what the benefits are from the DMA. So we can see that the AI has actually carried out an in-depth analysis based on the prompts. And we can also see that there was a faster response using the web search rather than using the agent mode. And the reason why, you can use the web search rather than the agent mode in this case is because with the web search, there are already, news blog and website that's already spoken on the DMA. The act is already online, and there's no need for in-depth opening of the websites to read through and all. Just like using Google search, just needs to quickly go into the web, search out all relevant information, but the AI, is able to comprehend all that it has read online and come up with this report. So the prompt will be made available to us after the webinar as well. And in your own use case, if you are into the digital markets, you can edit the prompt to your own business profile. Like over here, for example, the profile can be changed to what you do in your own business. And you can also change the platforms that you use. For example, maybe you only use Google Ads. So you can mention that this is what you use. And when it comes to, if you're into streaming or media services, you can mention that you use Microsoft or Amazon Web Services. So now let's go back to our second use case again, and we can see that the agent is done. That's carried out the market potential for organic dairy products in the Netherlands, and that's carried out the trend analysis from 2023 to 2025. And just beside every information it's providing, there's a link that you can just click through to verify what that's said. Like, it's mentioned that people consume 20 to 25 kg of cheese per capita and drink milk, yogurt, and desserts daily. So this information can be derived from this link here to verify. There's always a need for a human in the loop to verify AI responses. And with these links beside the responses, you can easily click in to verify what has been said. So we have more information here as we scroll downwards. And here's a consumer trend analysis for 2023 to 2025. And as a matter of fact, the Enterprise Island actually has some grants or funding instruments at the moment that helps, Irish businesses to break into new markets in the wake of the new impositions by the US government. The Enterprise Island has a particular instrument that's encouraging Irish businesses to diversify and go into new markets. So with a prompt like this, and depending on the nature of your business, you can edit the prompt and ask it to carry out this kind of a research. And, it helps to provide a detailed analysis such as this. We also have the demographic and lifestyle trends. We have the competitive landscape. So it's a very robust research that the agent has done. It's carried out a SWOT analysis here, and for every figure it's providing, you can verify them here to ensure that the AI is not fabricating information, that's actually providing factual information to you. So when you keep scrolling, you can see that it's a very in-depth report that it has provided. And if you want to download this report, all you need to do is click on the icon here, and it can be downloaded as a PDF or as a Word document. So all you need to do is when you get the prompt and your business is one of those businesses that are looking to break into new markets, all you need to do is to edit the prompt to suit your own business profile and ask it to carry out an in-depth analysis like this when you're considering to break into a new market. Let's go into the third use case that we also used an agent earlier on. So we can see that the agent is done and it has provided the report for 24th to 30th of September. So this use case is good for those in the public services who are looking to get information on what the public is saying about a particular service or about a particular incident. For example, maybe there's a need for an investigation in a particular scenario as well. The agent can go into the web and scan through different social media platforms to get an insight into what people are saying concerning that incident, and it can generate a proper report on that rather than having to go through different news blogs, rather than have to go through different people's social media handles and all of that. So it's provided an executive summary, it's provided top issues and trends, and the links are beside for them to be verified over here. It's provided information concerning roads, the links are here for them to be verified as well. It's provided issues concerning public transport that as at 24th September, there was an issue here. As at 29th, there was an issue here, and all of those when it comes to waste and water infrastructure. Now, there might be some mistake in this. That's why there's a need for a human in the loop always to always click on these links and verify what the AI has said. So this is a summary of volume and sentiment by service area that has been done. You have the sentiment analysis over time for the days that we requested that it does as well, from the 24th of September to 30th of September. So this use case can also be, tweaked to a particular scenario for businesses as well, and not just public services. If your business is a kind of business whereby people give reviews online and all of those, you can use this prompt to generate an insight on what people are saying, how you can improve on your services as well. That also provided a table on top issue keywords for 24th to 30th of September 2025. And it has also provided anonymized example mentions as well. And these are quotes from people, and it has been asked not to mention the names of the actual people for privacy concerns. Then it's provided recommendations for action, support affected communities, accelerate road safety improvements in Kinsale, and so on. So this can also be downloaded as a Word or a PDF document. And in an instance where you feel it hasn't done enough job, you can further prompt it to improve on its previous response. So with these two use cases where we've used agentic mode of the ChatGPT, you can see the power of the agents to actually go into the web in real time, to actually open up web pages and scan through what are contained at a particular time. And we've also seen from this use case how you can use the web search alone to generate information based on stuffs that have been existing on the web in the past, in the past 1 month or weeks. So with all of this, I believe we are better inspired to better use generative AI in our own specific use cases, whether in your business or in the public service. The capabilities of AI keeps expanding, and there's a need to always, join webinars like this to keep abreast with what's going on. Like the agent mode, I started using it like a month ago, and it's an it's an actual tool that that helps to streamline a whole lot of your processes if you pay attention to how to use them and you use it effectively. So this brings us to the end of the demo session. And just before we, go to our key takeaways for this session, I'll just initiate the poll and get your feedback on the webinar. So the key takeaways you're encouraged to take from this webinar is that there's a need to understand the fact that GenAI accelerates complex tasks across compliance, market research, public service, and knowledge management. Next, there's a need for a human in the loop. There's a need for a human oversight, and there's a need to realize the fact that quality data remain essential for trustworthy results. For example, the first use case where we used Notebook LM, there's a need to provide quality data in the knowledge base. There's a need to provide a very robust handover reports that the new employee can come in and interact with. Next, there's a need to adopt privacy-first design and clear prompts to mitigate risk. There's a need to ensure that the kind of data that are being imputed into the AI systems are checked if, for example, they are very sensitive. There's a need to ensure that you're not using the free version of these large language models, but rather using the paid version where you can have a say over your your data and how your data is being used. For example, in the paid version of ChatGPT, you can decide to allow the model to train itself with your data or not. So now we'll go into our Q&A session, and I'll be hearing from my colleague Rich if he has answered some of the questions in the chat, and if there are any questions that I may need to answer as well. So Rich, do we have any question?
No, I guess we have answered, but I just would like to highlight a few questions, just to have some more insights, which is maybe if we can, send out some resources regarding prompt engineering. One of the participants has asked. Um, so if it would be great if we could just, send maybe an article or maybe, just some pro tips around prompt engineering.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that question. Well, at the moment, we're actually designing a prompt engineering course, and it should be launched as soon as possible, but it's in the works and it's halfway or more than halfway done. And very soon, just keep in touch with our LinkedIn post, our emails, and all of those, and you'll be notified when the course is ready. But we're actually working on that, on a very good course that addresses prompt engineering and how you can easily use it in your own use case.
Yeah, so I guess that was the only question that was around.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us once again. We hope you enjoyed the session, and we would like for you to, follow us on LinkedIn if you haven't done that already, and keep in touch with, our subsequent webinars as well. Thank you once again for your time, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time.